Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So thank you so much for all the positive uptake I've had in recent times. I think this video that I'm about to drop now is probably going to be my most requested video. Just generally, I think everyone's been wanting me to go through a decision-making mock, and so hopefully this will be helpful. So some important things I wanted you guys to have a look at. So remember, have a read of some of the questions, like the ways that have a look at some of the questions, the way that I'm answering them, which ones I choose to do, which ones I choose to skip, and even so, normally I say you should try and do all the syllogisms, recognizing assumptions, and interpreting information. But even when I'm doing them, you'll see there'll be the occasional one that I'll skip or choose to not do. Okay, so it's important to remember that all of these questions, the UCAT is not about getting 100%. It never really has been. It can be possible, but the point is it's more about doing as many of the questions that you're comfortable with, as many of the high yield ones as possible, and maximizing your output. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So, bearing that in mind, I think we should get started. So, okay, so all of the road signs were either white, blue, or yellow. There were more white than blue, so let's call blue, but only half as many as yellow. So then white is X, yellow is 2X, blue is going to be less than X. All of the white ones had black symbols. All of the blue ones had white symbols. And it says that all of the yellow ones had black symbols, except for a few that had blue symbols. So we can't really quantify these in terms of X. So few of the road signs were blue, I would say so. Yeah, there were more road signs with white symbols than white road signs with black symbols. No, there were more road signs with blue symbols than blue road signs. We don't know that. I don't think we can say the exact numbers between the two. There were more road signs with black symbols than white symbols. More road signs with black symbols than white symbols, I would say yes. The majority of the road signs that had symbols were not white. I would argue yes. Okay, not all people attending the musicology convention were historians. So not all were historians. All of the historians were music theorists, and some of the historians were not jazz experts. That means there must be 1 to 98 jazz experts. Because some, which is 2 to 99, were, then 1 to 98 must not be. At least one person attending the music convention who was not a historian was not a music theorist. We can't say that. It could be everyone was. All jazz experts who were historians were music theorists, yeah. Not all music theorists who were historians were jazz experts. Yes, because only some of them were. Some of the historians attending the musicology convention were music theorists. So this is no, because it's not some, it's all. At least one jazz expert was a music theorist. Yes. Okay, so I'll skip this one. I'll come back to it. So cruelty is the worst quality a person can have. So cruelty is the worst quality. Carelessness towards others is not the worst quality. Acting with intent to harm. So you can see it's basically going to be that these two are the same thing. So a careless person has a worse quality than a cruel person. No. Cruelty is acting with intent to harm other people. Yes. Carelessness is one of the worst. We're not told about that. There's no quality worse than acting with intent to harm other people. Yes. Cruelty is acting in a way that harms other people. It's the intent to harm other people. Okay, I'm going to skip this one as well. So living in Neve's barn. Okay, so Neve's barn, there are black animals, there are chickens, and nothing else lives in the barn except for the pink pigs. So pink pigs. So the animals living in the barn are black or pink. We don't know what colour the chickens are. There are no white pigs living in the pink. Yeah, that must be true. There are no horse lives in the barn is black. We don't know that. There could be a black horse. More black animals than pink animals live in the barn. No, we don't know about numbers. If there are red animals living in the barn, they're chickens. That must be true. Okay, skip. Okay, so would offering free mental support improve employee well-being and productivity? Employees who feel supported by company management are more likely to take fewer sick days, resulting in a consistent rate. Okay, that talks about productivity. Manage stress. Okay, it could be this one. This talks about both. Stigma. Okay, that's not relevant. Okay, I think it's going to be B. Would it be necessary to introduce regular regulation to ensure safety and affordability? So that's the clause. Prioritize. That talks about patient outcomes. Probably not A. Robust pricing to improve efficiency. It doesn't talk about safety though. I think it's going to be D. Because it talks about safety and affordability. Okay. Should all public schools have to protect non-smokers? Balanced approach, respecting rights. It's not about respecting rights, it's about protecting. Okay. Shield non-smokers from being exposed everywhere. Yeah, I think it's going to be this. I'm just going to quickly scan the others. Yeah, I don't think it's those. In order to reduce waste, so reducing the packaging waste, so it could be this one. It's necessary for shoppers to hold online retailers accountable when the packaging used to ship the orders is not environmentally sustainable. Shoppers who complain to online retailers about excessive packaging will receive better customer service and more efficient shipping options in the future. It's responsible to government regulators to enforce environmental standards on business goods. No, yeah, I think it just has to be that one. Okay, let's skip this one. Recent Transport Authority research revealed that bus ridership increased by 10% among passengers aged 18 to 34%. Journey times improved for the majority of users. The comparative study of 200,000 travel bus found that 64% now use contract papers, up from 41% previously. Previous experienced 15% capacity increase, while off-peak ridership grew by 33%. Still looking for journey times. The 50% increase by private vehicles, vehicle service surged by 42%. The average journey time decreased by 8 minutes due to improved route efficiency. There were 90. Okay, average journey time increased by 8%. The 29% recruit occasional delays. Okay, fine, I'll put yes for that. Peak hour services show greater reach growth. So peak hour is 15%, off peak shows 33, so that's wrong. Increased ridership age led to a surge in weekend service usage. 50 relied on and weekend service. I don't know if it's directly correlating, so I'm going to say no here. Many users switch private vehicles to buses. Yes, because 58% previously relied on private vehicles. Must be contactless methods, 64%, so I'm going to say yes, that's true. Okay, potentially flag this one though. The deployment of bioengineered microorganisms for industrial production of pharmaceutical compounds has revealed unexpected metabolic pathway interference that reduces target molecule yield. So, commercial viability is compromised by the tendency of engineers to revert to their natural form. The genetic modified experience committed inhibition but induced and fatty the process of creative production bottlenecks. Laboratory scale optimization protocols fail to predict large-scale fermentation due to variation in natural ingredients within industrial bioreactors. Maintaining genetic stability of engineered constructs provides challenging and selective pressure for reversion to wild type. Yes, so that could be true. Actually, yeah, wild type. Synthetic compete with internal cellular processes. Competition to introduce synthetic pathways and endogenous cellular processes. Yes. Provide uniform. I remember reading here about it's not uniform due to variations in nutrient gradients. Yes. Genetic modifications are inherently unstable. Maintaining these genetically modified bacteria, I'd argue yes, selective pressure. So I'd say that they are inherently unsafe due to selective pressure. Laboratory scale optimization cannot accurately forecast industrial fermentation performance. So I remember saying about fails to predict large-scale fermentation. Yeah, okay, I'd argue that. Accelerated adoption of flexible working arrangements has created a two-tier employment structure where senior executives maintain exclusive access to strategic decision-making, whereas while middle-level professional fan cells systematically informal networking opportunities that traditionally facilitated career advancement. Flexible working environments retain an advantage for senior executives in strategic decisions. I'd agree so because they get access to that. Organizations with flexible working policies develop salary disparities between their remote and office-based workers. So, the hierarchical manifesto on remote workers describes that crucial project assignments are allocated during impromptu corridor conversations and after-hour social gatherings they cannot attend. The resulting information places employees as their contribution remains people who equate physical presence with professional commitment. Report widening salary disparities between office-based performing identical roles display explicit policies promoting workplace equality. I would say yes here. Project assignments are sometimes given based on informal office interactions. Yes, because I remember seeing something about corridor conversations. Performance evaluations favor employees who work from the office. I think so, yes. Because it says remote workers crucial hours during impromptu corridor conversations. Remote workers are unable to participate in networking activities. This one might be a no because it says about social gatherings after hours that they cannot attend, but I don't know if it says directly about this, which is more about mid-level professionals. Okay, let's flag this and move on. Recent research revealed that participating in organised sports took up by 12% among the adults over the past 3 years. Okay, more Australians participate in individual fitness activities now than 3 years ago. Individual increased significantly, so yeah, I'd say yeah. Australians are more likely to engage in recreation activity that convenient and flexible, rising by 20% sooner than swimming remains the most popular activity with 67% participants engaging in it regularly. The researchers engaged that cost was the primary barrier to organise sport participation, while convenience and flexibility drove the growth. So that's probably going to be true then. Few Australians participate in swimming now than 3 years ago. Well, swimming, it says it remains the most popular, but we don't know about any differences. Okay, main reason more students do not participate is it's too expensive. Cost is a primary barrier to organised sport participation. Yes, individual fitness activities are becoming more popular than organised sports. Well, it says the comparative study found that individual fitness activities increased significantly with gym memberships rising by 28% during the same period. Okay, I would agree. See, this is a tough one. I would individual fitness become more popular than organised sports. Yeah, but is that just in general? Fine, yeah, let's go with that. I can flag it. Concrete has a higher cost to density ratio than bamboo, so concrete is going to be 10 divided by 250, so that's 1 divided by 25, which is 0.04, and then bamboo is 60 divided by 65, which is going to be like a 10, so yeah, that's going to be wrong. All materials with a density lower than 1000, so that's these four, have a cost less than 100, yes, that's true. A lower compressor does not correlate with a lower cost. Which has the lowest? 0.2, that's 15, 6, that's 55, 75 is 60, 30 is 70. Yeah, so it's a bit all over the place, so I'd say no. So actually, yeah, sorry, yeah, it does not correlate. Exactly two materials have a higher compressive and a lower cost than brick. Brick, um, lower cost than brick, 80, so that's these four again, and it says two of them have higher compressive strength, so the 70 and the 30, yes, that's true. Densest material costs 20% more square meter than the second densest. Densest is 7,800, second densest is this. So that's 40 over 160, which is 25%, so I don't think it's going to be 20% more. How many people have both? So this is going to be 48 people in a park, 9 people have neither, 27 have a dog, so then this is x, 27 minus x, 14 minus x, and we know that this will add up to 48, so 39, because I've subtracted the 9, equals 27 minus x plus x, which is just 27 plus 14 minus x, that's 41, so then 2x equals 2. So how many people have both is going to be 2. How many students qualify for the leadership scholarship? So 3 different types of extracurricular activities. So that's going to be 18 plus 14 plus 20, I believe, plus 19. Does the 24 include it? Oh no, it can't be. So yeah, let's go 71. Skip, skip, skip again. Okay, how many apartments have a concierge? So garage parking, so square and hexagon, and at least one other. So square, hexagon overlap is these four values here, and at least one other. So apart from the one, it's going to be the others. So 19, 2, 21. Skip, skip. Friends that watch hockey. So hockey, they're all within football, and they are in triangles. So they also enjoy watching cricket. Not all of them. They also enjoy watching at least two types of. Yes, that's true, because they all watch hockey and at least one other sport. Yeah, because that football's within it. Okay. Probability will not slow on either day of Giancarlo's tobogganing event is greater than 0.1. First day event is 0.4, second day is 0.35, so it's going to be 0.6 times 0.65. This is, wait, it will not snow. So what's 1 minus 0.35? Times that by 0.6. Okay, I must have just multiplied it wrong. So yeah, it's got to be this one. Considering only the annual maintenance, so 10, 25, and then 150, should he buy X or Y? Is equally likely to have annual maintenance of 10 or 25, okay, that's X and X. Equally likely to have annual maintenance of 10 or 25, so that's Y and Y. Annual maintenance is 0.15 here for X, that's also 0.15, so then this becomes 0.7. This is 0.2, so then this becomes 0.4 and 0.4. So should he buy robot Y? Yes, the annual chance is 70% for X, but only 20% for robot Y. That's true. The annual chance of Andrew to be 10% is 80% for robot Y. That's wrong. £75 or less is greater for robot X. No, that's wrong. Annual maintenance being 150 is 5% greater. Yeah, that's wrong. Okay. Cure an allergic reaction, so you want the cure to be as high as possible, you want the allergic to be as low as possible. E and F. E cannot cure 15%, 86% cured, so it's either better choice. No, I would argue, and then I would say both students. Out of these two, F has a higher cure, so yeah, I think this one has to be the answer. Probability that the family has one son's 2/3. Family has two children, one daughter. One son is 2/3. It's 2/3 because no, because there's at least one daughter. So no, it's going to be a half. Yeah. Okay, let's go back to the ones I skipped. So, no subsistence farm. None is financed by state government. All sustainable agricultural projects in state are financed by the state government. Farming projects, and you've got those that exclude livestock management, and those are sustainable agricultural products. But we don't know if they're in state or not. So let me just write that. In the state, question mark. All farming projects in the state that exclude livestock management are funded by the government. That must be true. Sustainable agricultural products in state exclude subsistence farms. Yes, that must be true because, yeah, that's true. Oh, sorry, I have to put an X here. Yeah. Subsistence farms in the state include livestock management. No. Well, we don't know. I don't think there's a link between one having to include the other one. If a farm project is funded by the state government, it's a subsistence farm. No, that has to be wrong. Farming project is a sustainable agricultural project. It excludes. I think that's wrong as well because it's like the ABBA thing. So just because it's an agricultural project doesn't mean it excludes livestock management. We know all the livestock management are sustainable agricultural products. So 24 chefs were included in the same number of meat, fish, and sauce experts. Okay, there were more fish experts with secondary source. Okay, is there any others I can do? Actually, I'll come back to that. I'll do this one. So same number of meat, fish, and so that mean 8, 8, and 8. There were more fish experts with a secondary source than. Maybe I just write these facts down. So meat experts with secondary source. Sorry, fish with secondary source than meat with secondary fish. Okay, there's more of that. But no sauce experts had secondary meat or fish, and none of the chefs, all three. So there were more meat sauce experts without a secondary meat specialty. Well, we know that this is automatically wrong because there's no sauce experts with secondary meat specialty. There were more chefs with 2 specialties and chefs with only 1 specialty. And I don't think you can conclude that. There were more chefs with. So if half, I'll come back to that one. More than half of the chefs had a sauce speciality. Well, would that be true? I don't necessarily think it has to be because you'd have to get to 12. You could have only 1 fish expert secondary source. Yeah, okay, I'm going to put no for that. Total number of chefs with a meat specialty is greater than total number of chefs with a fish specialty. No. Actually, total number of chefs with a meat specialty. More fish experts with a secondary source speciality than meat experts. Yeah, I'm going to put no for this. If half of the sauce experts were replaced by meat experts, then at least half of the chefs would have. Yes, that's true. I think that's going to be true. If half of the sauce experts are replaced by meat experts. Okay, this one is very trippy. I'm not a fan of it at all. Okay, I'm just going to move on, which is the best thing to do, I think. Okay, which of the following combinations must be true? I'll still skip these. Only regional B. Okay, let's come back to some of these. Okay. Based on diagram, which of the following statements is true? Okay, so Division A had more athletes. In both divisions, the majority of athletes competed in track. Okay, that must be an easy one to do. All experiments that do not involve human test subjects, okay, require digital sensors, okay, or temperature controls. That's wrong because some are active for over a year. So that's wrong. So no experiment using digital sensors requires temperature control. That's also wrong. Some experiments involving human test subjects are active for over a year. That's wrong. So it has to be D because there's no overlap between those two. More people spent their free time watching TV than reading. So this has to be greater than this. 18, that's wrong. 20 and 20, that's going to be wrong. This is 22, 28. Okay, these bottom two, 17 and 15, so these bottom two could be right. More than 3/5 of people participating in the study spent their free time exercising. Okay, so more than 3/5 spent their free time exercising. Exercising is a triangle. So In this one, it's 27, 32, 38, 51, 62 in the top one. And if it's more than 3/5, so 27, 32 over, I don't think that's more than 3/5. Then this one is 17, 17, 26, 32, 51, and then 25, 31 divided by 51. Oh yeah, so I think it has to be this one. Most of the paintings in their original frame. There are more than 35 paintings. Most of the paintings in their original frame are 20 years old or less. More than 20 years old, most of these. So is this number greater than this number? That's 33, 42, and then that's 18, 24, 33. So most of them are 20 years old or less. Yeah, 20, 33. Yes, I would say so. Which the following best? Okay, asked what? They all liked at least one of the desserts. Okay, that doesn't really do any much. The total number who liked tiramisu is the same as who liked cake only. So, are we told? Okay, cake is trapezium. Trapezium. Cake only is cake. Oh, cake is a trapezium. Trapezium only. 21 is the same as teardrop. 21 is the same as teardrop. No. 15 is the same as teardrop. That works. That works. Okay, those three work. The number who likes exactly two types is less than the number who liked only ice cream. Ice cream is the triangle. So 8 is less. Okay, that's wrong. That's wrong. 18. So I think it has to be this one because this is 15. Those who liked exactly two types was less than those who only liked ice cream. 18. Okay, that's wrong. Okay, I think it has to be D. Those who like two types, 16 is less than that. We ruled out A before, so it's between these two. And yeah, okay. I think that's right. Let me just like exactly two types was less than the number who liked only ice cream. Okay. Alright, let's keep going. Maybe I can do one of these. Okay, so Mia, Naomi, Luca, and Poppy. Okay, so it says Poppy lives at 416, 414, 415, 416, 417. So Poppy lives at 416. Mia does not live at 414. The house of the garage is next to, by house of the balcony and the house of the garage are both end houses. So, okay. Maybe I should not have done this one. I didn't mean to click an answer for it. Okay, let's move on. Okay. Okay, some paintings are hung. Each painting. Okay, Wendy's painting is higher. Rishika's painting is the largest. So Rishika's painting is right at the top. So it's like blank, 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 blank. So Rishika's painting is right at the top. Painting is higher on the wall than Marley's and lower than Freddy's. So Wendy's is somewhere in the middle, higher on the wall than Marley's and lower than Freddy's. So Freddy's must be here. And then Isabel's is somewhere to the right of Dean, which is somewhere to the right of Marley's. So actually, Wendy's is here. And then Marley must be down here. Isabel's painting is somewhere to the right, which is somewhere to the right of Marley's painting. So Marley's must be here, I'm guessing. Oscar's painting isn't Dean's painting. Freddy's painting is immediately to the right of Rishika's. I think that one, I would say. Okay, so there's 3 students between the lecturers. Okay, 3 students between the lecturers. Ruben and Patrice are the only lecturers. Ruben and Patrice. Alana and Patrice have only one person between. So let's say Patrice at the front, Ruben and Patrice. Benedict is somewhere ahead of Theo in the queue. Benedict is somewhere ahead of Theo and is just behind Patrice. So Benedict, and then you could have Alana there behind Patrice, who's just behind Vicky. Okay, and then the 5th person in the queue is Theo. I think that has to be true. Benedict is 2 places ahead of Ruben. Not necessarily. Vicky and Alana have 1 person between them. No. The 3rd person in the queue is a lecturer. No. How many bookshelves does Barney have? So a certain number of bookshelves. He put 16 on the bookshelf. He's left with stacks of 4 books not on the shelves. Okay, so that means that if he puts 16 books on each, then he has so if he puts 16 books on however number, he's left with 4 additional. So it's a multiple of 16 plus 4. If he puts 15, he's left with a stack of 17 not on the bookshelves. So let's go 15. So actually, we may just be better off trying these numbers. So 16 times 12 is 192 plus 4 is 196. There's no way he'd have 17 left over in that case, I don't think, because 196 divided by 15 is 13 times 15 is 1. Yeah, that would be wrong. So let's try like 14. So 14 times 16 is 224 plus 4 is 228. 228 divided by 15. 15 times 15. Yeah, that'll probably still be wrong. So what about 13 times 16 is 208. Okay. So 13 times 15, 195. No, so I think it probably has to be 15. Because what's 15? What's 15 times 16? It's 240, so it's 244. So then 15 times 15, 244. Okay, wait, hold on. So if you put 16, he's left with a stack of 4 books not on it. So 16 times 12, so 196 books. So if he does 15 times 12, therefore he gets to 180. So there'll be 16 books left over. Sorry, 12 times 15. Yeah. Okay, so then if it's 13 books, if he does 13 times 16, he has 212. And if he does 13 times 15, he has 195. So yeah, sorry, I did the maths wrong, so it must be 13. Only Regional B achieved the overall satisfaction target in the third quarter of the year. So quarter of the year, quarter 1, third quarter of the year, satisfaction target, only Regional Office B. Well, number of responses and whether they rated them positively or negatively. At least 60% positive responses. So is the 100 how many they sent out? So I'm going to say no for this because, yeah, I just feel like there's more that could be there. Okay, in the first half of the year, more employees at Regional Office A expressed overall satisfaction with the company. First half of the year, year 2, Q1 and Q2. More employees expressed overall satisfaction at A than at B. Okay, so this is positive. Oh, okay. Okay, I get it now. It's still going to be really long. Okay, I will come back to this. Which of following statements is true? In both divisions, Div B had fewer athletes competing overall than Div A, so Div A and Div B, Div A and Div B. So that's 25 plus 39 plus 18 plus 24 plus 35, which is 141 for Div B. And then for Div A, it's going to be 53 plus 6, 59 plus 32 plus 30, which is 121. So Div B had fewer athletes is wrong. Had more athletes completing in track and field, so circle and this is going to be circle and thingy in track and field is 32, and then for the others it's just going to be track and field is going to be 24. Div A had more. Yes, I think that's going to be right. Okay. So there is a couple still yet to do. Let's see if we can do this one. So oboe. Okay, so you've got musicians R, B, W, X, Y, wait. R, V, S, W, T, X, U. Okay, this one is going to be really long actually. To the incomplete ones. So, how many houses? In the office of 12 estate agents, the agents hold a mean agent of 5.25 times 12, which is 63 houses. Third quarter, 3 estate agents told 2 houses each, that's 6. 2 estate agents told 3 houses each, that's another 6, and we've used up 5 estate agents so far. 2 estate agents, so that's another 8. I want to say sold 5 houses. So 12, 20, 25. So if this is 7, we've got 5 left. Oh, I done the maths wrong. 3, 5, 7, 8. Yeah. So of the 4 left, yeah. Sebastian sold 4 fewer than Poppy, 1 more than Amelia. Okay, so let's call Sebastian X. Let's call Poppy X plus 4. Let's call Amelia X minus 1. And let's call Daku 2X. So all of this must equal 12, 20, 38. So 38 must equal 1, 2, 3, 5x plus 3. So x is 7. How many houses did Poppy sell? Poppy sold 11. Is there any others? I just want to see if there's any that I flagged that I accidentally did. Okay, that's fine. I don't really want to do this one. So in the first half of year 2, more employees, only Regional Office B achieved the overall satisfaction target. Okay, I'll skip that one. In the first half of the year, more employees at Regional Office A expressed overall satisfaction with the company than I would say so in terms of the overall number. Yes, because I'm looking at these 2 columns and these 2 columns. The survey gave a clear set of overall satisfaction among employees in the second quarter of year 2. The survey in the third quarter of year 1. Well, we have a Regional Office A, the second quarter of year 2. Than in the third quarter of year 1. Yes, because I think it was a further gap. I think that's what they're trying to find. I think overall satisfaction, second quarter of year 2. Yeah, because I think the gap is larger. I think maybe that's what they're trying to get at. The company has more employees at company HQ than at regional office. Well, we don't necessarily know. It says it sent it to all employees. However, do we know that everyone filled it out? Or do we have to take that inference? In which case it becomes yes. No location achieved the overall satisfaction target in all 4 quarters. Wait, does everyone fill it out? Let's have a look. 400 and 500. 580 and... Yeah, not necessarily. I feel like not everyone fills it out all the time. Okay. No achieved the overall satisfaction target in all 4 quarters. So we just have to look for one that disregards the rule. So 40 and 500. Yeah. Okay, no location. So in regional office B, this is going to be true. 60 and 400. Right, this one, 500 and 400. That will be true. Oh wait, actually no, it won't be because 50 over 40 is 5/9. Okay, so those 2 are both wrong. What about company HQ? That one's going to be right. Yeah, okay. Definitely a dodgy one. Preview screen. Okay, I feel like 7 might be easier to do actually. So let's put the people down so we know it's MNLP. They live at 14, 15, 16, 17. And they have garden, balcony, solar panels, and garage. Garden, garage. Okay. So Mia does not live at 414. The house of the garage is next to Naomi, so Naomi doesn't have the garage. The house of the balcony, Poppy lives at 416. So lives at 416. The house of the balcony and the house of the garage are both end houses. So that means Poppy doesn't have the garage or the balcony. Which does not have solar panels, so she has a garden, Poppy has a garden. So it's not A or C. And, okay, so Poppy has a garden. The house of the garage is next to Naomi's house, so Naomi... So what are the 2 houses at either end? The house of the balcony and the house of the are both end houses. Okay. So, based off the info here, garage is next to Naomi's house. Naomi's not 16. So she can't be at 17 because it's the house of the garage that's at 17 and P has a garden, so she's not at 17. And she can't be, so she's one of these two. And we know the house of the garage is an end house, so the house of the garage must be 14, I believe. And so therefore Naomi must be in 15. So if Naomi's at 15, I might be making too much of a guess here. Therefore, let's see if this gets us anywhere. So the house of the garage is next to Naomi's house. So L has the garage. And does that mean Mia has the balcony? Yes, Mia must have the balcony because they're both end houses. Okay, let's go with that. So this question looks ridiculous. Let me just check all my flags, see if there's a better question to be spending my time on. Probably not, actually. Okay, yeah. Let's go to this one. 9 musicians, one will be in a solo, the others are in duets. Okay, so R and V play piano, S and W play violin, and then T and X play oboe, U plays the flute, Y plays the trumpet, flute, trumpet, and Z plays the saxophone. Okay, each song, one oboe is playing a classical duet. Each song is classical. Y plays a duet, but not with. Okay, one is a solo. R and V, is it overlap? S and. Okay, oh, but it doesn't mean that they have to be performing together. Okay, Z plays a modern duet with V. Z does not perform either, but plays a modern piece. U plays a classical solo. R or V. Okay, so time-wise, I probably don't have the time to do this properly, but R, V, S, W, T, X, U, Y, Z. Classical or modern, duet or single. Okay, one oboe is played in a classical duet and the other in a modern. Okay, each violin features in a classical duet, so R and V are in classical. So then the first one has to, wait, violin is S and W. So then that has to be wrong. S and W has to be wrong. Each violin is featured in the classical violin. Violin is S and W. Does S play with X? Y plays a duet. Okay, Y plays a duet. Each violin, Z does not perform with R or W, but plays a modern piece. Does not perform with R or W. Okay. U plays a classical. Each piano features in a modern duet. Okay, so let's have a look at how we did there. Cool. Okay, so I think interpreting information did let me down quite a bit there. I guess those were the ones I could have clawed back a little bit more marks on. But overall, I would say that I'm fairly happy with how that went. I definitely could have gotten better. I wonder what happened with my question 35. Probability the family has one son, 2/3. Because there are 3 combinations that include at least one girl and 1 combination that includes at least all girls. Oh. I mean, that's an interesting one because I would have thought that since we know they have at least one daughter for sure. Yeah, actually, no, that does make sense. Yeah. Yeah. So it makes sense because what I forgot to consider is I thought since you have the daughter first for sure, you can have a male or a female then. But the problem is you could have the male first and then have a female, or you could have the daughter first. I mean, I guess let me change this to female. You can have the female first, and then you can go on and have another female. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. So, yeah, and also that logical puzzle question. Yeah, I probably perhaps did it the wrong way. but I just knew that it probably wasn't worth me spending that much time on it. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I think that there were definitely some things I could have improved on, but you can see that, like I said, it's not necessarily always about getting 100% exactly. It's just about doing as much of it as you can, which is what's important. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. And you can see timing wise, there were certain questions that I think I said you can do really fast. So you can see 13 to 60, and I was able to do fast, and so therefore I was able to spend that time on some of the questions. Although perhaps I shouldn't have spent so much on logical puzzles. I should have gone over some of the interpreting information ones. So I hope that was helpful. Hopefully you can see about how I like to approach questions. Obviously, I'm a little bit out of practice here, but yeah, overall I'm fairly happy with how that went, but definitely can do better. Okay, so thank you all for watching, and please let me know if that was helpful. If you'd like to see me do another run through, perhaps slightly alter my strategy a little bit. All different things to consider. But thank you so much for all the comments. It really does mean a lot. And yeah, please continue to engage, and I'll do my best to reply to you all back. Thank you.